escoltar a Loretta Napoleoni, que és la primera ponent d'aquest cicle. Ens parlarà d'una crítica a la política exterior de la Unió Europea en l'Orient Mitjà. Aquesta Unió Europea que jo m'atreveixo a dir, i espero que bastants d'aquí estigueu d'acord, i potser sonarà una mica estrany aquesta frase, és la història d'un èxit.
So the idea that what is happening in Syria today, or what happened in Iraq beginning from 2003, has nothing to do with us, is a complete lie. I mean, we are suffering because, economically speaking, Europe is suffering because of what is happening in this region. So it is our responsibility to pacify the region. It is our responsibility to find a solution to this problem. I mean, this is an extremely serious situation. We are very close to a possible confrontation. So do we know that? Do we realize that? Do we understand the responsibility that Europe has in this particular context? I don't think so. What is Europe doing about that? Nothing. So this is how the Islamic State started, this double nature. So Salafism on one side, and on the other side, people coming from Saddam Hussein, top-ranking officers, both at a very strong sense of nation, completely different from Al-Qaeda. So from 2011 until beginning of 2013, these guys, what they did was attack other jihadist groups. So Al-Nusra, for example, Al-Qaeda's groups, in order to establish themselves as the most important group, so that everybody that wanted to come and fight would join them, I mean the good ones, and not the others. But also, they attacked these groups to conquer regions which were strategically important. Their objective was, from the beginning, the creation of their own state. So my question is, what was Europe doing at that time? Did anybody actually pay any attention to what was happening in Syria? I mean, the first time we heard about the Islamic State was in May 2014. By then, they actually had part of the north of Syria and almost all the north of Iraq. Is it possible? Well, yes, it is possible, because the answer is that, we delegated the handling of the situation in the Middle East to Washington. Washington delegated the handling of the situation to the Arab allies, and nobody knew what was going on. And this is taking place in our backyard. It's insane, isn't it? So, massive failure of intelligence, that's the other thing. There is no way that we can solve diplomatically the problem of the Middle East at the moment without, an agreement with Russia. And an agreement with Russia means that we have to change our policy and our loyalties also. We have to find a compromise. And this compromise is possibly a partition of Syria. So the south stays in the hands of Assad. A partition also of Iraq, which also means that we may have to come to terms with the fact that the Islamic State, it is a state, is there, has been there for a year and a half, and is there to stay. The thing we need to do is to make sure that this redrawing is not done in order to hurt us, but that is done at our own advantage. That is the strategy. Exporting democracy is not the right formula. Regime change is not the right formula. So let's try another formula whereby they decide what they're doing. Because at the end of the day, this is also their right. So I think this is what we need to think about, and of course, what we need to do is also push and push for a true leadership, a true European leadership who present the scenarios in the way I just did it, in the interest of Europe, and not as a sort of favor to the policy of Washington, D.C., or as a sort of driving force of NATO. That's not what Europe is, not what it should be, and not what the founding fathers of the European Union wanted.
Obra social La Caixa, l'ànima de la Caixa.